And welcome back, everybody, to our Wilson Sports Network. It's been a while, but here in quarantine, we're here with Mr. Roth, back to where it all started. He was our first episode, and if you'd have told me back in September, I would have been interviewing him via Zoom because of a global pandemic. I would have said you were crazy, but we're here. So first of all, Mr. Roth, how has quarantine been for you?
Quarantine is interesting. I'm used to being over in Wilson for the majority of my days, and now I'm not. I'm home. I have two little kids, a 1 and a 4-year-old, so I'm here with them 24/7, which is really good, and sometimes not so fun.
What kind of work can you do now that there's no sports?
Just like what we're doing here, most of my day is some sort of Zoom meetings. Because there's a few other hats that I wear over in Wilson, besides athletic director. So we're just kind of trying to figure this out as we go. So the admin team meets 3 or 4 times a week, and then there's all sorts of other preparation meetings, safety meetings, et cetera, just trying to make sure we're doing what's right for the students and the community.
Bring us inside those meetings for a second. Without, I don't know how much of that it might be classified information, but now that school's been canceled for the whole year, what is there now to talk about?
So, there's just always the guidance coming from whether it's Governor Cuomo. Most of the time it's Governor Cuomo, but so he's providing guidance. We're not getting a heads up on what he's going to say at his daily press briefings. So once he makes his press briefing, if he has said something that deals with schools, then we have to act on that. And there's also that part of the New York State Education Department and how they're dealing with some of the things and the guidelines that come with a global pandemic. So it's just a daily meeting to figure out, hey, what do we need to do next? What's the next step? Whether it's tomorrow or, today's meeting was more about, hey, what are we doing this summer as far as safety and what it looks like going forward in the fall.
Were you surprised to see school canceled this year?
So I'm like the one person that actually, I never predict anything correct. And, but I'm the one person that said once this started, I didn't see that there was any way we were coming back. So, I was a little bit surprised, but I had said all along that I thought that this was going to go a little bit further than most people had predicted. And it did, unfortunately. It's sad, definitely, because me and all the staff members at Wilson and around the country, teachers, educators, administrators, staff members in schools, we all do this to be around the kids, to work with kids. So Zoom meetings are not what we're we're designed for, and they're not so fun. We would much rather be interacting with the kids and being there with you guys in Wilson for sure.
Let's go a little bit the sports direction here. Going forward with sports in the fall, let's all hope and pray that there will be sports coming this fall in September. Can you see any changes in sports? Maybe, for example, I don't know, maybe no handshakes, after a game. That's the first thing that I can see. I can't see players wearing masks in football. I can't see. But is there anything that you can see going forward that could be a change?
There's definitely going to be changes the way that, and I think Governor Cuomo has said this multiple times. I think state ed will repeat this. I think that the health departments across the state have said something similar. There's definitely going to be changes, whether it's athletics or general school. What those changes look like, we don't know yet. We don't know. I can tell you this: if they're going to allow us to play football where kids tackle and have contact like that, the handshake is not going to be our concern at the end of the game, because you guys are going to be sweating all over each other, for the last hour and a half. So handshakes won't be the concern, but there's definitely enough rumor out there that who knows what's going to happen with fall sports. We'll take our lead first and foremost from not only the governor and the state ed department, but we'll have to see what happens at the professional levels and how they handle this. Remember, they're still not back in action at any real rate. So once they get back in action, we'll take the what we can do from there and use it. I'm not sure we can do everything that they're proposing at for like Major League Baseball is proposing or stuff like that at the high school level, but that's the first thing that needs to happen is those pros need to go back because they do have the means to make sure it doesn't spread among that group. Once they do that, then we can kind of see what works, what doesn't work, how to maybe manipulate what we're doing now to be safer in the future. But it's scary. There's no guarantee that fall sports happen.
I was just going to ask if you were a bet now. You said you're 1 for 1. You said we wouldn't go back to school. If you were a betting man now, would you say that there would be fall sports?
I would bet that there are going to be fall sports. I don't know how they're going to do that, but that's because I can't imagine any longer without sports. The reason I got into this is to work with high school athletes. So it would be pretty devastating for sure to to not have sports in my life, and I know in our athletes' lives. So I'm betting yes, but I think a lot's going to have to come about from May 7th to August 7th in order for that to happen.
So tell me if I'm crazy here. Like if these players and they go and they play their sports and they play like football players, they go and they play football, volleyball. I'm just talking mainly about the fall sports right now. If you play a sport, I mean, especially football, you have a chance of getting a concussion and getting hurt. And we see in the stats and the numbers and the research that it doesn't seem like high school kids are getting it as much. We still see a lot of older people and people with underlying health conditions are the people that are most at risk to this. So is it worth it for the kids to, maybe this kid who's going to be a senior this year and he's looking to play football or volleyball or field hockey in college, and he or she's looking to get a scholarship. Is it worth maybe not playing, in order to keep people safe? But, in any way, there's risk in it, no matter what, if you play or not. Does that make sense?
So there's definitely risk of injury, with sports. It's an inherent thing. I think at some point you just have to weigh what's, the risk against the reward. And that's what people way smarter than you and I are attempting to do for us.
There's not many of them. There's a few that are smarter than I.
Well, maybe you, but I'll let the people that make the big bucks decide if our sports are going to be safe. And what we'll do from that point is if they determine, we're going to do these things, but here's the guidelines that we need put in place, we're going to do that. We obviously are in the student athlete business, or at least I am. So I want everyone to be safe. So we take as many precautions as we need to currently, and we'll step it up even further when that time comes.
One of the things I saw, and you mentioned Governor Cuomo, I saw a thing that he was saying that this could completely change the way we educate our kids. And basically he said that we could maybe even go to school 3 times a week and maybe twice a week do like Zoom meetings for classes. Do you see that being an effective way to educate kids?
It wouldn't be my first vote, but I've been doing this for 20 some years. So I'm an older guy that's only known one way to do this. So I'd be willing to listen, and I'd be willing to adjust. I'm not sure that overhauling the entire educational process is maybe necessary, but those are political things. And I try to stay away from all of that because again, I'm not smart enough, and I got enough issues going on. I don't need to worry about those guys.
Now, one thing we saw obviously when school got canceled for the year, coming from people way above us, we saw that prom and graduation got pushed back. What are the dates for prom and graduation?
So we have prom August 1st, and we have graduation August 8th. I believe, if those are the right dates. Those are probably Saturdays. So that's what we're going to try to do. Whether that happens or not, I have no idea. I see that, just tons of stuff is getting canceled all summer. Like I saw the Canal concert series was just canceled, just all kinds of stuff. So, um, our hopes at a lot of these meetings between Mr. Galgovich and I and Mr. Carter, for the high school kids is to have some of these things. We're just kind of waiting and hearing it when we can do them, if things open up, and how then we can go about doing that. So we'll see, man. I don't have any concrete answers because no one's given us any real direction yet.
Do you think if there was like a prom or graduation, like people would have to sit 6 feet apart and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
I don't know. That would be the best prom ever, to have you guys all sit 6 feet apart. It would be very easy to watch you guys and make sure everyone's behaving if everyone was 6 feet apart. It would be tough to dance with your girlfriends though. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know how that would work, but what do you think about? I mean, there's probably not going to be any type of senior week, right? Obviously the all night party's a big thing. I mean, this is my first time being a senior. I don't really know what else
Yeah.
there is, but
Yeah,
is there
so all
anything
that
like that?
all that stuff is up in the air. I mean, there's no, like I said, there's no concrete answers because we don't know anything. We can't plan anything until they open us up. So until that point, we're kind of just waiting and waiting and waiting, very impatiently. But I know it stinks for the seniors, and I feel for you guys the most because we've already had our senior year. We're trying our best to make yours a memorable one, and not for a pandemic, but for the right reasons.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely memorable. I'll give you that. But
Yeah,
outside of sports a little bit, the school I've seen on some social media has been delivering lunches to
yeah.
people. Could you just talk a little bit about that and maybe the people that have been involved in that?
So Sue Bell is our cafeteria person, and she's the one that organizes that. So our entire cafeteria staff, I want to say it's 3 times a week, goes in there and makes all the lunches. Brenda and her crew are in there making lunches, and then they have 3 locations where they deliver the lunches. And I know for sure last week they eclipsed 20,000 meals served. I think after yesterday, I think we're closing in on 30,000 meals served. And these are free meals for the Wilson community, Wilson students. So that's one of the things. The teachers have been volunteering to deliver meals, to hand out the meals at those sites, among others. But that part's been really cool. It's something that, over the years, I've been in Wilson, I'm just finishing my 10th year in Wilson, and it's something that I've actually come to just know as Wilson. People step up. I occasionally see an email from Miss Mahar asking for volunteers to do some of the things that we need volunteers for. And each time she sends an email, about 20 minutes later, said all the spots are full. Both times that she's asked for people to volunteer for meal help, they've been completely full in 20 minutes. So it's just really cool to see. And like I said in the beginning, our teachers they've been awesome. This isn't how they were educated in order to teach kids. So they've had to learn, Google Classroom or all the different dojo stuff at the elementary level. Many of them on the fly while at home, while taking care of their own families, like I am. So it's not super easy. And I know it's not easy for the kids either.
Yeah, how does it work for kids in elementary school? I know, like being a senior in high school, we're doing a lot of Google Classroom, but how does it work for those kids down there?
Well, I'm not too involved in the elementary school stuff, but they're doing essentially the same stuff.
Wow.
They have to do kind of the same way. I mean, shoot, my daughter is a pre-K student and she's doing Zoom meetings. So I don't know how effective her Zoom meetings are because they're all just screaming and yelling, but I bet they're a little more effective at the elementary school level.
How good of a teacher are you since you have to teach your 1 and 4-year-old?
Yeah, so I used to think I was a great teacher back when I was a teacher 100 years ago. But when it's your own kids, it's a little more difficult. So if you know what the pre-K curriculum is, let me know because I'm probably screwing it up for sure.
Last thing for you here, what do you say? And I have the shirt on here, the class of 2020. What do you say
Yeah.
to the kids who have had their senior year cut short, or even all the other kids who have had their school years cut short?
What do I say to them? keep your head up. This will be memorable. There's no doubt about it. This will be something you'll never forget. I do have some nephews running around, and it was a big party the day that they canceled school for the year for those kids because they didn't have to do any more schoolwork, essentially. So they were real happy. But I feel for the seniors. I can't imagine what you guys are going through, mentally and emotionally. So keep your head up. Know that better times are coming. This is crazy for sure. It's just absolutely bananas. I can't believe that we're in a situation like this in the United States, but we are. And take this time to learn something. If you're sitting at home not doing anything or have a lot of free time on your hands, learn something.
I
Learn
think
something that you didn't have time to do while you were playing sports or in school all day.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I've taken from this is, I think all past 12 years of my life, I've said I hate school. And now I kind of like, geez, I wish I could go back to school and just see everybody because it's just so different and so weird.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard on everybody. There's no one that's immune to it. I try to text a couple coaches every day or every few days just to see how they're doing. I keep reminding the coaches to text the kids or to reach out to the kids, make sure that their mental state is okay. But yeah, it definitely wears on you. You have, as an adult who's supposed to be equipped, I have really good days where this isn't so bad. And then I have other days where I'm like, my goodness, I need to go back to work real quickly here. But I have been, trying to stay busy with some of the stuff that you'll see coming up on social media, on the Wilson Athletics Twitter account. So you'll see coming up, the last few days I did a spring team spotlight, just honoring the kids, just the full roster of kids. And then going forward, I'm going to do a few other things. I'm going to start posting some memorable moments from the school year. So you might even make the cut as a
Oh
memorable
boy.
moment, starting the Wilson Athletics YouTube channel. So so I just started creating some of those, and I'm going to do a senior spotlight of all of our senior athletes. So that stuff's been keeping me busy for sure. And I'm also doing a senior tribute to all of our senior class. So individually, all of you will get some sort of picture on Facebook or something like that on the district website, et cetera. So I'm just trying to do some things to honor some of the kids that I haven't been able to talk to face in quite a while.
Wow, that's awesome. I appreciate that, Mr. Roth, and thank you for coming on. I guess that'll do it for this interesting segment on the Wilson Sports Network. Stay tuned. We'll try and have some more stuff for you. Maybe we'll talk to a few of the coaches and maybe a few other administrators as well. And we'll try to stay busy and hopefully we can all get through this. So thank you so much, Mr. Roth.
Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate it.